Neo Financial just came out with a brand new credit card today called the Neo World Elite Mastercard. And at first glance, it's an amazing card that offers some of the highest cashback rates on gas and groceries. And even though it's a paid card, it is among the more affordable premium credit cards, which means that it could easily justify that annual fee if the features are as good as they seem. But upon looking deeper into the details and all the features of the card, it is a bit more complicated than that. Let me explain. This is a card that is getting marketed as a card that can get you up to 5% cashback on gas and groceries and 2% cashback on everything else. And it's doing all of that while only costing you $150 a year to own. Now, when you compare that to one of the best cashback credit cards in Canada in the form of the American Express Simply Cash Preferred card, this card gets you 4% cashback on gas and groceries and 2% on everything else. And this card costs you $120 a year to own, so pretty similar to the Neo card. But again, if the Neo card can get you 5% cash back on gas and groceries, then obviously that would be the better option compared to the AMEX card, right? Well, this is the small little detail that is being missing, because unlike a card like this AMEX card, which gets you that cash back regardless of how much you have in your bank account and how much you spend or anything like that, the Neo card comes with some caveats. And in fact, you need to have the Neo everyday account to get these higher cashback rates. But you might think, well, I'll just get the Neo account, right? It's free to own. What's wrong with that? I'll just open the bank account and I'll get the higher cashback rates, right? Well, again, it's not just about having the account. It's also about how much money you keep in that account. Because if you have the Neo World Elite Mastercard, which again, this card costs you $150 a year to own, and you either, let's say, don't have the Neo everyday account, or you have it, but you have barely any money in it, then you would only get 2% cash back on gas and groceries and 1% on everything else. So that would mean that you're paying more in annual fees than you would for this card, and you're getting half the cashback rates. Yeah, not great, is it? But okay, you might say, what if you start putting some money in the account? How much would you get then? Well, if you have $1,000 in your Neo everyday account, in that case, you would get 3% cashback on gas and groceries and still 1% cashback on everything else. Still not great, still less than you're getting on all the categories from this card. And again, you had to pay more in annual fees for the card, and you have to keep $1,000 in that account consistently in order to even get that. But what if we put a little bit more? Let's say we put $3,000 in that account and keep it there consistently. Then in that case, you get 4% cash back on gas and groceries and still 1% back on everything else. So you would finally match what you get on gas and groceries with this card, but you're still getting less on all the other categories. In fact, you're getting half of what this card gets you on all other purchases. So clearly that's still not enough. Let's push it a little bit more. Let's say you have $5,000 in that account. And again, you keep that $5,000 in there consistently, never taking it out. Well, in that case, the Neo World Elite Mastercard gets you 4% cash back on gas, 4% cash back on groceries, and 1.5% cash back on everything else. So still less than what the AMEX card gets you on everything else, and still only matching what they get you on gas and groceries. In fact, the only time you start doing better with that card compared to this card is when you have $10,000 in your Neo everyday account and you keep it there consistently. Now, if and only if you do that, will you get the 5% cash back on gas, groceries, and 2% on everything else. So that means that you have to pay a little bit more in fees every year. And you also have to keep $10,000 in a Neo everyday account indefinitely in order to just get 1% higher on gas and groceries compared to the AMEX card. Now, here's the issue with that. The Neo everyday account is kind of like a checking account. It's an account that doesn't get you a lot of interest, but it does allow you to do a lot of transactions for no fees. And that's good and all, but unlike the Neo high interest savings account, which gets you 4% interest for every dollar you have in that account, the Neo everyday account gets you 0.1% interest, which is extremely low. In fact, let's take a quick look at what happens when you take that $10,000 and you put it in the high interest savings account compared to when you put it in the everyday account. Now, 4% on $10,000 is $400 a year, whereas getting 0.1% on that $10,000 is only $10 a year. So that means that by putting that $10,000 in the everyday account instead of in the savings account, you're losing $390 every year in opportunity cost. And again, that's not even taking into account how much you could have made with that money if it was invested elsewhere. We're just looking at the difference between the Neo savings account and the Neo quasi checking account, which is called the everyday account. So by keeping that $10,000 in the Neo everyday account, that by itself is costing you $390 a year in opportunity cost, which basically means that in order to get the Neo World Elite Mastercard and all the highest cashback rates available to the card, it doesn't just cost you $150 a year, it cumulatively costs you $540 in both fees and the opportunity cost and the money that you could have basically made from the savings account if you had kept the $10,000 there. So you tell me, which one is the better deal? $540 to get 5% back on gas and groceries and 2% back on everything else, or just $120 to get 4% back on gas and groceries, but the same 2% back on everything else. Now, of course, the Neo World Elite Mastercard also has other features such as extensive travel coverages, purchase protection, stuff like that. But this card also has pretty much all of those features as well. So again, which one is the better deal in your eye? To me, it's very simple. I've always been an AMEX user. As you can see, I have the credit card right here with me. I even have the Cobalt card over here. These are all much better options. So even though at first glance, the new Neo credit card looks like an amazing deal, once you take a closer look, it's actually not all that good at all, which is really a shame because I really like Neo Financial as a company. I think their savings account is absolutely amazing. In fact, that's where I keep my savings. And I was really hoping they would come out with a better credit card that we can all get behind and go out there and get. But that just hasn't happened yet. Never say never though, maybe they will change this card in the future and make it more affordable or just a better deal overall. And of course, if that happens, we'll talk about it here on this channel again. So make sure you subscribe to this channel to see all my new videos right as they come out. And also if you got value from this video, make sure to smash the like button down below as well. Also, if you're looking to get any of these cards or the Neo card that we just talked about, I don't know why you would want to get that, but I'm sure there are some people out there who want to get it just anyways, just cause. But if you do want to get one of these cards, I do also have referral links to all of them down in the description below, where if you use those links, you would also be supporting the channel in the meantime, which I always appreciate. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think about the Neo credit cards. Have you had Neo credit cards before? What have your experiences been with them? And also, as always, if you have any questions about any of the stuff that we talked about in this video, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. I always respond to every single question that comes in. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.